It's the man of the hour, Mr. Bobby Dennis.
Well, good evening, everyone.
You gotta hold it up, Mr. Bobby.
Here, you hold mine. You take mine.
Good evening again, everyone. And thank you for coming out. I wish I could talk as much as Joe. But this gives me inspiration. First of all, to find a young person who has an interest in the people.
Yes.
When I discuss history and look at an event, I can only think of the people. To see what I have learned from the expression of an event happening to a person and how he carried that event with him through his life, the changes it made for those who he come in contact with as well as himself. And this is where we're going to get it from. We need to look and listen to his words, to how he preserving what he has learned, so we can see how to bring the connection together and look within our own selves and see how it forms building a better Natchez for all of us. So thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, man. Sit down. Round of applause for Bobby Dennis one more time. You know I got this couch just for you, man.
I need it, man.
Nobody ever sat on this couch, but this is the first time in Natchez. You the first person to sit on this couch. I went and got this couch from Baton Rouge just for you. Okay, so you gotta hold the mic up. All right. Thank you so much for your words and for your leadership. Tell everybody what you are doing just right now, generally speaking. Just take a few minutes and just tell people what you're doing, like down at the museum, just generally, and then we'll jump into some more questions. Hold the mic up, though.
Right now, what I'm doing at the museum is taking families of Natchez, finding the people, accenting them more so than anything else.
You gotta hold the mic up.
I come into, as I look at my history, I look at us talking about the hardships of an individual without saying and looking at what I've gained from that hardship of an individual. Because I have to look at my family, how things developed with me, myself, and through the hardships, through what they have experienced and what they have shared with me, and take it as a gift. And a lot of times I don't see that. So rather than go through and walk people through the museum, I let them seek out the stories written by people themselves, the people who actually lived the story. When I show a story of the parchment ordeal, I listen to the tourists that come to the museum. They tell me how well it is to put a monument up, but nobody mentions the people. Nobody. That should tell me something. So what I do is look, take a name. When I recognize a name and recognize it may be someone that I go to school with, went to school with, and know personally, how did you maneuver your life after such an experience, and what impact has it made on how you feel about your hometown? Because we never go into the situation where we talk about that man or lady from the parchment ordeal this was so disappointed, so disgusted that they had to leave the city to make a living. And when you say leave the city, how can you tell a man he has no home? Boom. We never look at these things when we talk about the city of Natchez. And these are the things that I try to draw out, not just tell a story.
Yeah. So,
Totally different.
yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Mr. Bobby is the curator of the Natchez Museum of African American History and Culture, which is the only black museum on a main street, right, Mr. Bobby? I said, Mr. Bobby, I asked Mr. Bobby a couple years ago, I said, hey, what do you think about like us getting some money and building like a state-of-the-art, museum? And he said, well, if it's not on Main Street, I don't think we should pursue it because we are the only African American museum on Main Street. So I was like, all right, yes, sir, Main Street it is. And so what I'd like to, I want to go back. I want to go back to your childhood. You grew up here in Natchez, right?
Correct.
You grew up here in Natchez, and where'd you grow up? What neighborhood?
I started growing up on Canal Street, off of Canal Street.
Where this South Canal? I mean,
South Canal.
so down that way, on that end by Rosalie.
Past Rosalie, on the other side of the road, as they call it, October Street. You know where the Stanton House, and now it's the hotel up there, the View Hotel.
The View Hotel over there.
In that area.
So that was Canal Street over there?
Yeah, Canal Street ran straight to it.
I didn't see, I don't know about that. So you grew up very proximate, I guess, to downtown and
Pretty
downtown.
much.
Where'd you go to school?
Went to Holy Family.
Okay. Does everybody know what Holy Family
Holy
is?
Family.
Holy Family Catholic School, which is the oldest Catholic church in the state of Mississippi, right down the street here. Incredible history connected to civil rights. I'm just giving people context. We're not from Natchez and they don't know. We grew up here, so we know. But Holy Family, they have an academy, and it's a wonderful school. So you went to early school at Holy Family? Okay.
My first, one kindergarten through, I think I got into the public school system in the 5th grade.
Fifth grade? Okay.
Something like that. I think it was the 5th grade.
And what school?
I went to Sadie B. Thompson. Would you believe that?
You went to Sadie B. Thompson,
It
the
was-
state-of-the-art school for Negro children in Adams County.
We had half-a-day classes.
Wow.
Really. It was a change. And then I think we went to Sadie B. Thompson the first year, and then after that they built Northside,
Okay.
and then went to Northside.
Which was also a state-of-the-art school. So you went to Northside for what grades?
That was up to the 6th grade. I think.
Sixth grade. Where did you graduate from high school?
North Natchez.
North Natchez.
Now this is something that always bothered us.
Uh-huh.
I got some classmates in here.
Okay.
We got our class ring from Sadie B. Thompson. The last class ring of Sadie B. Thompson. And the same, it was the change of semester in January, they split the schools up.
So for the people, because there are people in here who are not from Natchez, so they don't know this history like we know it. So you were going to Sadie B. Thompson, all right, which was an all-black school,
Yes.
right? And the school district decided, after maybe some pressure and some antagonization, right, some agitation, that they were going to consolidate the schools again, and they formed 2 schools, right?
Well, yeah, now, when we talk about that school system,
Okay.
we have to be kind of careful when we start looking at integration.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't understand that in 1968, we had volunteer integration.
Okay. Here it
That was
okay.
totally different. You could volunteer to go to a school. Because I think that very first year, I went to Martin.
Okay. Martin over on Homachetta Street.
Correct.
Okay. Right next to Dunleavy, the big house on Homachetta. Okay.
Correct. And I will always remember that because in 1968, Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Right.
And all the black kids didn't come to school on the day of that funeral. Now this is what we fail to look at, the psyche of the people. Not understanding why a black child would not come to school that day,
Yeah.
paying recognition to Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And then too, we had some students, instead of just telling the truth, felt they had to lie and say they were sick that day. These things will make us think, because we have to look at the effects of people because of an event or a situation of an event.
Yeah. The anthropology, right? That's a big word that they use to study. You don't know that?
Anthropology and archaeology and history, all of it fall in place, but knowing the place in which it play.
Yeah.
You know, the people build the product.
That's right.
Well, why did the product get the attention? If it wasn't for the person building the product,
Yeah, man.
then
You know, can I, okay, I want to push that a little bit, because, we have this saying that we borrowed from Ta-Nehisi Coates, the author. He wrote this book called The Water Dancer. And in it, he talks about the genius of the enslaved people and how none of the plantations could have functioned without the genius of the enslaved people. And so when we started, we put this quote on the side of the building that says, "Look anywhere in Natchez, and you'll see the genius of the slaves that built it." And the reason why we did that was what we understood was that here in Natchez, everybody was talking about like the history in the houses, but they weren't really talking about the people who built the houses.
correct.
You see what I'm saying? And the people who ran the houses. And what Ta-Nehisi Coates said in The Water Dancer was that the masters of the house, the old white men, no shade to the old white men in the building, right? That the old white men were, they didn't know really how to run their plantations. It was the genius of the black people who were on the plantation that kept the plantations going. And those are the people, to your point, that have unfortunately been nameless and invisible, and we go from, the agriculture period, the period of black enslavement, and we move forward to the civil rights movement, to what you're talking about. And that invisibility that you're talking about, I think, is still like very prevalent, because there are people who live in big houses around here who say nothing about the people who actually help keep those houses going.
Well, these are small things that we miss,
Yes, sir.
and that shows the importance of the city. I always mention in a lot of my talks, we'll talk about an enslaved black man, but no one will ever come up and say the skill and the knowledge a man or a woman had before he was enslaved.
That's right.
And how it was put to use to put this building in place.
Yes.
Yes.
When
Yeah.
we look at the building of Natchez, pay close attention. You look at the brickwork, and
Yeah.
then you look at the layer that's laid across the
Bricks,
brickwork,
yeah.
and then the paint.
Yeah.
And when I look at that and think of an individual coming from the western coast of Africa,
Africa. Come on, man.
having the skill and the knowledge
Yes, indeed.
to take soil, sand, and make a plaster.
Right.
To take a
Genius.
flower, to take a flower,
Genius.
different plants to make the dye.
That's right.
And none of us bring it to attention.
Yeah, why y'all fussing at me about the paint color? My people brought the color over here. You see what I'm saying?
We have to understand this. We have to understand Jamaican.
Sure.
And in describing Natchez, we would show you just the middle of the book and not the nature of his building.
Wow.
Because you got too many shifts and changes that are unexplained. And when I begin looking at that, I have to go through the families I met, talk to them, speak to them, so I can understand, okay, if you trace your family back, and I say I'm from Africa, okay, tell me, where do your family exist from? On that end is the Natchez district. When I look around Natchez district, I find the basic of true African heritage beginning in up more going toward Jefferson County.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just being serious.
Yeah.
And then when I
They
look
at North
at
of town.
that's
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
that's it. And because the way you can find it is because of the French settlement following that Natchez trace and the development of small cities like Fayette off of just that migration and building northward.
Yeah.
When I look at the Kingston area, I start seeing those coming off of the forks of the road slave trade, because I start finding family members that came through there. My brother's big city. We find these members and put together the dynamics of the area and begin to see a different flow and a different skill coming from those individuals.
That's genius,
We don't see
man.
it.
That's genius.
And the most important part, I hate saying this, I get in a whole lot of trouble about this.
But you gonna say it anyway.
I definitely will tell you, how much Spanish Natchez do we actually see?
Oh wow. Not that much.
And when I started looking at the history, I said, why is it that Natchez only have about 50 to 60 pages of Spanish history documented, and all the other parts you gotta find them in Texas or somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really
Then,
interesting.
yeah, you look at the people again, because their records show 240 free black people.
Yeah.
And then as
The
soon
largest.
as we change over and start seeing Mississippi history, we start getting a different story. Then I find documents of some writer got them from Historic Society, whereas they list a free black man in the census, his family, as being that of free black, and then the next year they list them as white. Why don't we put this together and let you see how that family developed under Spanish rule,
Yeah. And then
and look at the progression of how it works?
Okay, so wait, hold on. I had to ask you this. So you grew up as a black, colored, African American Negro, all the names that black folk have had. We won't go into the derogatory one. But you grew up as a black boy in Natchez, Mississippi. Where did all of this come from, this infatuation with like history and like all of this? Like where did you know when you were growing up here? Like was there something happening in the school? Did you have like a teacher who like kind of dropped some seeds and those seeds are blossoming? Like where did all of this come from? Because the average person, you know, of any race in Natchez who grows up in Natchez does not have this level of passion and insight relative to our history. So where did all this come from? Home.
Wow.
So tell us about that.
Wow.
We grew up in a family that I always say they made us learn our history through our parents.
Come on.
My parents would send me to my grandmother's house during the
Summertime.
On
Yeah.
my father's side, my grandmother's house on my mother's side.
Wow.
And then we spent time at Alcorn because my uncle was president and I had another uncle that was managing the books.
Wait a minute. Your uncle was the president of Alcorn?
Yep.
Yeah, one time.
Who is tell us?
John Boyd was my uncle.
So you're going to Alcorn, spending time at Alcorn because your uncle is the president of Alcorn.
We were exposed to that. And guess what?
Wow.
His wife was over the library.
So you know, but okay, so you know what, like, okay, no shade to the Natchez documentary because it's going all around the country, but like, it's these kind of stories that we don't get to hear. You know, a black boy who is growing up in this town in the deep South, right? Who is proximate to education and information and culture and class. Because your uncle is the president of Alcorn State University.
I don't think that's the important part.
Okay, come on, talk this out now. I can't talk how we normally talk. I normally be cussing and stuff, but we gonna clean it up, Mike, because we in here. Yeah.
These, look, maturity play a big role in all of our lives. I never understood it until after I was 50 years old. The effect that I have of my life have on a young person. I never paid close attention, and I never really understood, put into use some of those things I was being taught growing up as a child by my parents, because I thought I knew everything. I could get away with everything.
And you were exposed to a lot more than the average black child. Yes? Come on, man. Your uncle was the president. Your auntie was over the library.
I can't say that I was exposed, because I
And your other
still
auntie had a sugar cane.
Yeah.
my
Plantation.
neighbor.
I get it.
But cool. We had a neighbor that was a painter, Mr. Chapman. Very, very, very prominent family, still here in Natchez, still in Natchez. But these were neighbors, people in which we were exposed to, that helped develop our lives. It wasn't just the exposure of coming from a family that let us move around among our family, let us learn our history from a family member first.
Right.
So we can
I love that.
understand that someone else had a history.
Yeah.
How do I get along with my neighbor without recognizing he has a history and a background that I have to use?
So important. It's so
So
important.
these are the things we begin to omit and never think about. And as I grew older, I had to recognize, pull this forward. A person asked me and said, well, what make you write? Why don't you put an index in your book? The index is coming from my thoughts. What I actually feel when I talk about something, even given a tour, I cannot go and do anything but present the history that has been given to me or shared with me, but I can't tell it.
Yeah.
You always say, I don't interpret history. That's what you.
It's a dangerous thing, because being in this business would change you a lot, and I think
Sure.
you're gonna pick up and notice it. We fail to recognize what is it that a person is actually looking for that's coming into my museum.
Yeah.
Can I go and pinpoint, this is what you come to this museum to say, and just give you a story about this? Or should I let you see what I have to offer?
Yeah.
And what catch your attention?
Yeah. And have you asked me a
Then you
question?
ask the question.
Right.
Not me going and telling you this story, and all I'm doing is forcing my ideology on someone else.
That man, listen, that concept transformed the way that I approach studying history, right? Because a lot of people use the terminology interpretation. And from the moment that you said, I don't interpret history, I'm presenting history, right? I'm just putting it out here, and I'm letting you draw your own conclusions and bring your story, right, into your engagement with this. That really transformed it. And it's really interesting, because when we look at the ways in which indoctrination happens through our education system, right? And through our museum system, all of these apparatus that we have around the country that quote unquote interpret the history, that they're forcing their ideas, their perspectives onto us, and it doesn't really give a whole lot of space for this kind of imagination and this interplay that you're talking about between my story and what I'm actually looking at, this event or this person, right, whose lives or the details of their lives or this situation, like they don't create a lot of space for that.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And what brought it to my attention was have a group of high school kids. They came out of Jackson, and they walked through the museum. And when they got into the big room, the first thing I asked was,
Which one's the big room?
where we do the video.
Okay, yeah. The middle one in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I asked them what they pick up. They said, you know what? Every live picture I've seen with a man sitting on a wagon, a man walking in the field, his shirt tail is in it.
Mm.
Well,
Wow.
this would scare you. This really scare you. It's showing me that these kids understand what respect means. If I want to get respect, I need to respect myself.
First, yeah.
And those images show this. I had to go back to the museum and look around myself. I said, wait a minute now. Every live picture of a man working or in a field,
That's perceptive.
he has his shirt tailed in,
Wow.
he's dressed in a way that makes him feel good.
Wow. Wow.
Self-respect.
That's powerful.
And that's when I started saying, I need to begin asking my young people, what do you look for in me?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for in understanding your history? So rather than look so much as horror, look at the gift. We take our children to the store and we buy them $500 pair of
You gotta hold the microphone.
$500 pair of shoes. They begin to expect this.
Mm.
Do we let them see the trend of earning it and what type of sacrifice they have to make to earn that type
Sure.
of money?
Definitely.
We have to be careful
Yeah.
because we're the ones in control. If we're gonna let them or allow them to be told or listen to interpretations, thinking it's an easy way out, they would never be able to figure out what it takes to survive tomorrow.
Right, man. Okay, I gotta jump. I gotta speed us along because I want the audience to be able to ask some questions. Let me ask you this. So how many books have you written today?
Five.
He said, I don't know, because I'm just that good. But your books are really good, and this is the one we have available because the books sell out so quickly. You have 5 books. Your newest book, we can't even get the newest book.
That's one novel, and
What's it called?
After Midnight.
After Midnight.
And it's focused strictly on the parchment idea.
Okay. It's a novel.
I wrote it in a novel sense.
Okay.
Because,
So a historical fiction kind of?
yes.
Okay.
But I wrote it in a novel sense. I started thinking about the Devil's Punch Bowl and how it brought so much attention and attraction to just that story for people asking questions. And then I hear the questions all the time about, oh, I like the monument and the ordeal, but they never talk about the people. When you look at those names on that parchment ordeal thing, and I recognize the large percentage of people 16, 17, and 18 years old that suffered through an event like that and had to carry it all the way through their adulthood. I have to take in consideration their strength.
Yes.
I have to talk about their why. Why did they feel the need to go out there, put themselves at risk for an adult?
So so the book is based on, just tell us a little bit about that latest book and then we'll talk a little bit about this one.
What I did was try to follow the going up to the march and the movement when they just started arresting people just for thinking about marching. And I called it The Days Your Children Disappeared.
You know my grandma was part of one of the children that disappeared, to use your terminology. She part of the Parchment Ordeal.
And see, do you ever hear the story of how it affected her life and how she trained you? The things that she tells you, how to avoid these. And this is what I start off with. And I walk you through certain scenes that happened in Natchez and what we were doing, what school teachers was doing, what parents was doing. So you can follow a scenario and see the impact it's having. And then the last few chapters I deal more so with one particular person, and I'll tell you, I patterned him after a person that I know and I know of his family. Not only was he a young person that was sent to Parchment, but his mother, his sister, all of these people took that. And I listened to his statements, his stories, and I see how much hurt it brought to him, and I wanted to pass this along.
Wow.
But it still did not stop him from being an effective citizen of Natchez.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know what the Parchment Ordeal is, happened during the Civil Rights Movement. It was a time when a lot of young African American people, mostly young African American, I think there were a couple of white folks, but mostly young African American people were basically protesting for civil rights. Is that correct?
Basically, we would say civil rights. What we wanted to do was to be a part of the community. Black policemen,
Yeah.
black firemen, this kind of thing. We could always say you're a part of the community, but you had no say-so in governing or doing yourself. We don't even follow or tell the story of those first that were given the positions, how they were limited.
Yeah.
These positions didn't come where they could take care of the entire community, only address the black people of the community.
Okay.
And these things make a difference, but we never get the opportunity to see it because we want to tune out the sacrifices of growth. And
man, we want to tune out the sacrifices of growth. Why? Why do we do it? Because it's so painful, or people forget, or
I have no idea. Because number one, even when I get back and start, I go off really. When I look at Highland Rebels and John Roy Lynch and look at the politics of the day, I see the same tactics used to get these people out of politics being used today. And why is it that we don't recognize it?
Yeah.
Because we never talk about it.
we never talk about it. Hiram Rebels, for the people who don't know, I'm just giving a little context as you talk. Hiram Rebels, for the people who don't know, was the pastor of Zion Chapel Church, the church right here on the corner. He was also the president of Alcorn State University, and he was the first black person to serve in the United States Congress. Correct. John Roy Lynch also served in the Mississippi State Legislature as well.
The first speaker,
Black speaker of the Mississippi Legislature. Yes. From Natchez. Lived in Natchez.
That was born a slave.
Correct.
We need to look at this. No home education.
Yeah. I think, can I just say this? I want to say this. I think that it is incredible the level, and this is what we don't talk about, right? This is the story that we still have got to share with our local community and with the rest of America. The level of genius that emerged from this place is absolutely mind-boggling to me. And it is crazy to me that in the state of Mississippi, that we don't have a course that focuses specifically on the genius of the black folk that came from Natchez. Because because as Mr. Roscoe knows, all right, who's sitting back there, curator of African American history and culture for Visit Natchez, who has helped us to acknowledge a lot of the contributions that African American people have made here in Natchez by establishing them with historical markers, right? But as he knows, like, a lot of the black folk who were doing things here in Natchez were having a national impact, okay? A national impact. It was not coincidental that Booker T. Washington visited Natchez not once but twice, okay? The book on the shelf that says the making of a civilization that we have in our bookstore, the reason why we have it in our gift shop, not bookstore, Dixon's, okay? We have a gift shop. The reason why we have that book on the shelf in our gift shop is because it documents Booker T. Washington's visit to Natchez, Mississippi, right? And we don't understand, like, the degree to which black people being proximate to all of this wealth and all this education and all of this inspiration, and as Mr. Bible would say, the fact that they came over from Africa with so much of this within them, and they were able to come here, bump up against wealth, privilege, class, and all of that. They went on to do incredible things, and I don't think the people who live in Natchez know that. I know that the America at large doesn't know that, but I think it's a powerful story to tell. Would you agree?
It is. But I don't know if when we teach history, we obscure it to a sense in which we only teach those things that we want to be heard or spoken of as one person see it. It has to come from within.
Yeah.
And I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. All I can do is write in a way which leaves my reader asking a question about themselves, which will force them into going into something deeper and looking a little further.
I love that. I love that.
I mean, you basically you're like dropping crumbs, and you're hoping, or maybe we should say dropping seeds, and you're hoping that one of those seeds will take root, and as a result of your reading something in the novel, like that you will sort of go down in a rabbit hole and maybe learn about your own history, if not your own history, certainly the history of some of the people and places that you talk about in the book, right?
But that's what it is. And after midnight is exactly that. I think that a myth and a lie will gain quicker attention than me telling the truth straight out of the bag.
Hey, listen.
Most people will go and spread that.
You know, the old folks say that a lie will travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. That's what the old folks say. So you use fiction to entice us into these stories.
Into that particular story. That was my first try on that one.
Okay.
And it scared me.
It scares you?
Yeah, because I don't like speaking so much if I hadn't had the experience. I hadn't touched it. You don't want to put yourself involved.
Hold on, it scared you?
Yeah. I would never want you to walk out of the room and say, you know, he said.
I see.
He pointed me to a way in which I can find a solution.
Well, you know now we really gonna have to go read the book and see if you did your thing, Mr. Bobby. We're gonna really have to go. So when did you release that book?
I finished it up the end, just not even 2 months. Can't remember.
Okay, because you just that good. I mean, you got them all. They come in one after the other. And we literally don't have the book because the book stays gone. Okay, whenever he gets the books into the museum, the books fly out of the museum, and you can try to order it on Amazon, and they may or may not have it. But
Amazon always have them, but that after midnight, it take them longer to get down to you than any of them. I think when I ordered it took me a month and a half to get the author's copy.
Wow. See, this might be a problem that Dixon's can help us solve.
That was longer than anything.
Yeah. Okay. So, so my final word. This is my final word before I open it up to questions from the audience, because I think we're about at our time. We could do this like for hours and just keep, especially if I got tequila. You know what I'm saying? Just keep going and going. But let me ask you this: who is your favorite person in Natchez Black history? Who's your favorite character?
John Roy Lynch.
Okay. Why?
Because I never understood his work.
John Roy Lynch is what he said.
Until I started meeting people from the Gulf Coast and them expressing what they gained from him working with them. You see, that forced me to look at what areas did John Roy Lynch represent when he was in the state senate. And that was the entire southern half of Mississippi. I'm saying, how in the world a man from Natchez and right out of Vidalia area become so involved with people in Biloxi, Gulfport, Hattiesburg? What made him so significant? What was the impact? And then when we start following the progression of those cities themselves, we see that impact arriving out of Natchez.
Yeah.
A church being built, established in Biloxi because of the incentive given by John Roy Lynch.
Wow. Wow.
It's powerful. There are things that come to you from the people listening to guests and the questions they ask about the people, which may have been a part of their family.
Yeah.
Leads us to getting a better understanding of ourselves and our purpose.
Yeah.
Really.
I see. I haven't dug much into the life of John Roy Lynch. I've been really infatuated with Booker T. Washington and the things that he has done in the South, and I was so excited that we put the plaque up for him over at the school building for the Roosevelt schools. Yeah. My favorite people in Black history. You want to know?
What's that?
I'm kind of like intrigued by the Dumas family, man. I'm really intrigued by the Dumas family and just like how these Black people in Natchez, I think they originate out of Louisiana, I believe, and they basically build an empire, okay, here in Natchez. So they own a pharmacy, a ice creamery, a dental shop, a hotel, okay, and one of the Dumas brothers builds this incredible house that's still standing on MLK Street that becomes the West House, that Madam C.J. Walker stays in, the first Black woman millionaire. She stays in it, and she says in her diary that this is one of the finest homes that I have ever had the opportunity to stay in, and I have never had a more exquisite experience in hospitality than that which is shown to me by the Dumas brothers of Natchez.
But see, this is another thing. You need to look at the time frame.
Yeah.
C.J. Walker's visit. The time frame in which that first Black bank was established.
The Bluff City Savings Bank. Yeah.
And the
Here in Natchez.
Here in Natchez.
Yeah.
And the relationship that Banks had with the Dumas family that was established during his middle school days in Tennessee. So a lot of us, we look at just one sense of the story without getting the feel of the people. And when I first learned about Madam C.J. Walker coming, and I learned about the Black bank, You have to put it together. You have to start putting this together. What effects do they have?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's just a lot.
It's so layered because you have the first black woman millionaire who is visiting this very prominent black family here in Natchez, Adams County in the early 1900s, right? And yeah, so it is very layered.
And we have to pay close attention to these parts of the story. Who did it affect? How did it affect them?
Yes. Yes.
What made this area one of the most popular areas in Natchez in the 1960s? I mean, you could not walk up and down the street on the weekend. It was crowded.
In the triangle.
That's right. That's right.
It was that many people.
You attracted people from all over. I'm telling you, we did not pay close enough attention to us, the people, what we were drawing, and the impact we had. The city of Natchez basically was made up of Virginia, Faraday, Woodville, Fayette, Crosby. Oh man.
And so everybody came
weekend.
every weekend. Wow. I mean, wow. I just like
It was amazing.
it's amazing. Okay, well, I have like 5 more questions, but I think we're out of time because I want to give them an opportunity to ask. You know, we can sit here and talk for hours. I just want to say, you know, thank you for always being available. Thank you for always being supportive. Thank you for your willingness to not gatekeep information, you know, but to share that information and to give that information. And thank you for doing it with a willing and loving heart so that all of the people of any race, shade, color, nationality can come, get the knowledge and information that they need, and really understand why nothing matches Natchez. You a G, man. Thank you so much. Can we give a round of applause?